All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who taught me this truth, and salutes and honors to all the elect Akim out there across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Kratazah from the Fountain of Living Waters coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This lesson being entitled U.S. Strikes Iran. Our salvation is nearer than what we believe. Now, I mean, I ain't even really prepared nothing for this. I put up a couple precepts, but I heard the news and had to come and hit the play button because so let's see what we can get from here. It's from Reuters from about less than a half hour ago, 21 minutes ago. Says U.S. B-2 bombers involved in Iran strikes. U.S. official says, and they said that they left the Whitman Air Force Base in Missouri. I spoke about this a couple days ago that these guys were seen leaving Nebraska. As I said, if they're going to be a mission, that this is who they would use, and that's exactly what happened. It says Washington, U.S. B-2 bombers were involved in strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, announced by President Donald Trump on Saturday. A U.S. official told Reuters, speaking on conditions of anonymity. Reuters had reported earlier on Saturday the movement of B-2 bombers, which can be equipped to carry massive bombs that experts would say will be ideal for strikes on the sites. Okay, I guess that's it to that. But hey, that boy Trump told you that Iran cannot have a nuclear program; they cannot get a nuclear weapon. So hey, so they struck 3 sites. I bet any money they ain't strike that one that Putin told them to do though, or Putin told them not to strike. So this is from AP. This is from about 6 minutes ago. It says from Tel Aviv, President Donald Trump said Saturday that the U.S. military struck 3 sites in Iran, directly joining Israel's effort to decapitate the country's nuclear program in a risky gambit to weaken a longtime foe amid Tehran's threat of reprisals that could spark a wider regional conflict. Now, let me see, because there was an earthquake the other day in Tehran. Earthquake of magnitude 5.1 hits Iran, sparking theories of nuclear testing. On Friday, June 20th, a powerful earthquake of 5.1 magnitude struck northern Tehran's Semnan area, according to Tazan news agency. The earthquake happened 27 kilometers southwest of Semnan. The quake struck at a depth of 10 kilometers. It says a powerful earthquake, magnitude 5.1, struck the northern Iran Semnan area. However, the earthquake has now triggered a wave of speculations about whether Tehran has tested a nuclear weapon. It has also sparked concern because it struck near a city with the space of a missile. Near a city with a space and missile complex. The Semnan Space Center and Semnan Missile Complex, run by Iran's military, is said to be located there. So, just yesterday, this earthquake happens, and everyone's speculating on, did they test a nuclear weapon? We said that they can't have a weapon. Well, you've been saying that they can't have a weapon since '92, and it's 2025. So if they were, two weeks away, they were weeks away from getting the bombs. They're weeks away, months away. Next year they're going to have a bomb. For the past 30 years, they could have been had the bomb, but now you want to strike them, and So now it's like, okay, well, now we need to get the bomb. In their official position, Iran, that is, was we don't have the bomb, but if we want the bomb, we can get the bomb. So now you have pushed them to test, and now they got the bomb. So now you got to make sure that they can't use the bomb. And I believe, that's why Donald Trump uh, sent those planes over there, man. Hey, this is moving fast. The apostles always spoke. When the ball starts to move, it's going to snowball, right? It's going to roll downhill rapidly and increase. So let's see if there's any TikToks that we can watch. It's so recent. I don't know if there's going to be anything on here. Like I said, this update was literally the latest one I seen was like maybe 34 minutes ago. Like I said, I literally seen this and just came straight to, to do a
All right, well, breaking right now, President Trump announcing tonight that the U.S. military has bombed 3 sites in Iran. This action joins Israel's efforts to stop the progression of Tehran's nuclear program. It comes after a week of strikes by Israel on Iran. Now, tonight, President Trump says that there are no more planes in Iranian airspace. Dozens of U.S. embassy personnel have been evacuated from Tel Aviv. We're going to bring you more details as we learn them.
Somebody said, side. We're not even a year in yet with his ass. Hey, that's a good point. We're 6 months into this year. He already got ICE running rampant. He got protests everywhere. He just struck Iran. Just bring on the MOT to the B. Just bring that on and we can get up out of here, man. This is the last president. It's not going too much further than this, man.
Clearly tonight, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iranian regimes. Clearly tonight, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iranian regime's nuclear program because there was no off-ramp for diplomacy at this point. There was that 60-day window that President Trump gave the Iranians to come to the table. 5 rounds of conversations, most of them taking place in Oman, with Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East envoy, other top American officials meeting directly and indirectly with their Iranian counterparts, but the Iranians did not want to finish a deal. And ultimately, the decision was made by Israel to launch this operation that has led to a war developing between the two countries. And then again, tonight, the Americans getting directly involved, launching these strikes with those bombers over Iranian territory. We will certainly learn more information as daylight comes tomorrow in the region. But the bottom line here is that a decision was made that will change the reality of the current war between Israel and Iran, and possibly create a scenario where the Iranians really have no other option than to give in, because the president has hit them so hard with these strikes, and the Israelis are continuing to take out their top military leadership, that the country is in a state of disarray. And so the bottom line here is that these strikes tonight show not only solidarity with the American ally in the Middle East, Israel, but also they show that the region is at a crossroads here. There are clear decisions that will have to be made by the regime officials that are still alive and by the country's supreme leader and the country's president, Masoud Pezeshkian. And so certainly more hours ahead, we'll learn that information. But again, the bottom line tonight is that the decision was made by President Trump to take out, in effect, these nuclear facilities that the Iranians were using to enrich uranium closer and closer to weapons-grade material. You might remember back during the nuclear deal that President Trump pulled out of in 2018, the Iranians were enriching uranium at 3.67%. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, they were enriching uranium close to 60% purity, getting very, very close to a weapons-grade purity, which would give them the component that they would need to create a nuclear weapon. And so this is a historic moment in the Middle East tonight, and again, an opportunity for the region, as the president laid out in his statement, for peace in the future, because this is a region that understands peace through strength. Brett, clearly tonight, President Trump.
And then you look at these biased comments. Trump gave them every opportunity to come to the table and make a deal. He didn't want to do this. he only wanted peace. But Iranian leaders didn't seem to want that. Well, they're getting fucking bombarded by Israel. You want me to come talk peace with you while we're getting fucking bombed on day and night? Because I don't see how there was any other solution. Well, they didn't have no other fucking solution either. There was a solution for the U.S. to stay the fuck out of it. But that's what the Lord wanted. That's what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai wanted. So, matter of fact, let me see. The Kings. Here we go. Proverbs. That's I don't want to do the NK. The king, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth whatsoever he will. Right? So Donald Trump didn't make this decision. The elites didn't make this decision. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai made this decision. He said, you know, it's time. Now it is time. All right, it's time for the U.S. to strike Iran. It's time for these prophecies to come to pass. Mainly this one, Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Babylon, against his purposes, that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which is America, Babylon, America, Chaldeans, America. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And the least of the flock then draw them out. All right, the least of the flock are those Israelis. All right, and they have drawn out America to strike their mortal enemy, Iran. So the real question is, what is going to be the Russian response? So this is from 3 days ago. So 3 days ago, Russia tells U.S. not to strike Iran, warns of nuclear catastrophe. From St. Petersburg, Russia is telling the United States not to strike Iran because it will radically destabilize the Middle East. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said on Wednesday, and Moscow said Israeli strikes risk triggering a nuclear catastrophe. Russia signed a strategic partnership with Iran in January and also has a relationship with Israel, although it has been strained by Moscow's war in Ukraine. A Russian offer to mediate the Israel-Iran conflict has not been taken up. Let me see. Ryabkov, speaking on the sidelines of an economic forum in St. Petersburg, told Interfax news agency Moscow was urging Washington to refrain from direct involvement. Well, they said, fuck all of that. Since this would be a step that would radically destabilize the entire situation. Interfax cited Ryabkov as saying and criticizing such a speculative conjectural option. Criticizing such speculative conjectural options. The head of Russia's SVR Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Naryshkin, has said that the situation between Iran and Israel is now critical, and Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova said the Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear infrastructure meant the world was millimeters away from catastrophe. Well, if we was millimeters away then, what are we now? Where's the doomsday clock? What DEFCON are we in? The current DEFCON level for the U.S. military is not publicly announced. Okay. So, what people think, like the higher the level of DEFCON, the worse. I think Kanye made a DEFCON. Let me see. Right. He said to go to DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Right. So people think that that's him saying we need to have immediate action or to obliterate them. DEFCON 3 is just like mobilization, but man, right now with this, we definitely would have to be at 2 or getting close to 1. Really, I would say 1, right? So it says fast-paced, armed forces 6 hours or less to deploy and engage near nuclear war. At the minimum, we're at 2 right now. At the minimum, we're at 2. Probably at 1. Cock pistol. That means everybody's ready. Finger on the trigger. Nuclear war is imminent. Hey, you should struck somebody's nuclear facilities. So, according to Ezekiel 38, like I was saying, right, I'll just jump to the point here in Ezekiel 38:4. It says, I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaw, speaking of Russia, turning them back to that old Soviet mindset, that dog-eat-dog world, only the strong survive. We, pop off and we're going to fuck you up mindset, pretty much. Says, I will bring thee forth, and all thine army and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed in all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So basically, put them back in that wartime mindset, which they've been in. Clearly, you can see that because they've invaded Ukraine. But not only that, build up your army, which that's what they're doing. That's what they have done. They built up their weaponry, they built up their technology, and they're building up the manpower. So that's what Russia has been doing. It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. And this Persia is the country of Iran, right? Let's get that real quick. Iran is officially the Islamic Republic of Iran and formerly Persia, right? So when it says Persia, is speaking about Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya, all with them with shield and helmet. Remember, told them to prepare war. So if they grabbing shield and helmet, they should be doing what? Preparing war. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Togarmah in the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So, hey, Russia being that guard unto Iran, we need to see what the Russian response for this is. That's going to be telling. I'm not going to do too much on this. This is Romans 13:11 says, and that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. It's definitely the time that we've been speaking of, the time that we've been waiting on. So, hey, keep your head on tight. Keep continuing in this thing and keep pushing. We ain't got too much longer. And, Lord's will, this update was edifying. And we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem. Rakakadash, giving double honors to the apostles of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and women who follow. Shalom.